You had an interview where where he gave you the finger, and he actually did it 2 times, right?
Yeah.
As a joke.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the first time we interviewed and like what happened, like the full context?
So Rock's my guy. Rock was like at the very top of my list of like people I wanted to interview, like the absolute bucket list of celebrity interviews. He was my number one. You know, it dates back to me being a huge wrestling fan. So I've been fortunate now to interview The Rock like 10 times. Not that I'm counting or anything. But for this one in particular, he was walking the red carpet for the premiere of Ballers, his show on HBO. And red carpets are just tough to begin with. You're never guaranteed you're going to talk to anybody. And it's all about timing because they're walking the red carpet to do these interviews, but they've also got to like get into the theater to like make sure that the screening airs on time. So like red carpets are a bit of a cluster and you're just trying to do whatever you can to make it work. On top of that, I'm live on TV. So like I'm live on this segment airing on the Fox station in Miami. And we've carved out this like 2-minute window where I'm going to speak during the show. And we don't know if The Rock's going to be there, if he's walking down the red carpet like before he comes to us, or I've already talked to him. We don't know the context of any of that stuff. I've got 2 minutes to talk and I'm going to be on the red carpet. The Rock may or may not be there. It timed out perfectly that as they were throwing to me, The Rock was walking up. And I'm like, I can't believe the timing of this. Like, absolute perfect timing that the second they're talking to me, like, we'll send it live now to Chris Van Vliet, who's on the red carpet. He's joined by Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He was standing right there. Like, the timing was absolutely perfect. So we started chatting. Actually, we started chatting during a commercial break. And I remember my producer in my ear is like, we've got 30 seconds till we come back. Whatever you do, just keep him talking so that when we come back on, you're live with The Rock. So I'm doing whatever I can to keep the conversation going. And then we finally do come back live. And that felt like the longest 30 seconds ever. And I remember my producer just yelling in my ear, like, you got to make this happen. Whatever you can. He needs to be talking to you when we're back live on TV. 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 10, 9, 8. And like, finally, I'm like, hey, Rock, we're live right now on Deco Drive. And he goes, we're live. And he grabs the mic. We're live. I can say anything I want. And I'm like, well, you can't say anything you want. We are live on TV. But I'm trying to like extend the time. And I said, could we do a people's eyebrow to the camera? So we both turn to the camera, do a people's eyebrow. Little did I know that behind my head, as I'm doing this, he gives me the middle finger. And I didn't see this at all. So I turn around and I'm like, Rock, thank you. You are just the absolute best. Always so good to see you. Then I turn around and I like look at the camera and I'm like, there he is. One of the biggest stars on the planet, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, live on Deco Drive at the premiere of Ballers. I was on such a high. It was amazing. I couldn't believe this timed out. So like the live shot ends, we're packing up the camera gear and my phone rings and it's my producer. And I'm like, can you believe that? The Rock live on TV. And my producer goes, do you know what he just did? I said, yeah, we got him live on TV. No, he gave you the middle finger. I said, what? What do you mean? Yeah, he gave you the middle finger behind your head live on TV as a joke, but like, obviously you didn't see that. Yeah, we might be facing a fine from the FCC. We're going to have to edit that out. If this ever airs again, like, we've really got our work cut out for us here. I said, yeah, but we got The Rock live on TV, right? Yeah, but also all this other stuff. So like, it was so funny that like, I was still on this high that we talked to The Rock, but he'd given me the finger live on TV. I went back to the car. I uploaded that as quickly as I could to my YouTube channel. That clip ended up going viral like very quickly. And then I interviewed him maybe 6 months later for Moana. And it's funny, it's Moana, it's a Disney movie, right? Yeah. And I said, hey, last time I saw you, you gave me the middle finger on live TV. And he goes, oh, you know what that means, right? I said, what? He goes, big F you right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So he gives me the middle finger again during a press junket for a Disney movie. But the thing about The Rock is no matter who he's talking to, he's always going to create a fun moment. He's always going to create a fun, memorable moment. Like they always say, you shouldn't meet your heroes. if your hero is Dwayne The Rock Johnson, do whatever you can to meet your hero because he's everything you want him to be. He's kind, he's funny, he's very present, he's very in the moment, but he's also really willing to share that spotlight with you. Like he's willing to, like he realizes that he's one of the biggest stars on the planet. He's willing to share a little bit of that spotlight with you. Like at the start of that interview on the red carpet, he was like, "Hey, look at the nice pocket square you got." And I was like, wow, like Rock's giving me like a compliment on my fashion. Like he doesn't need to do that. How kind is he? But yeah, he's one of a kind. And I don't know how many people he's given the middle finger to during interviews, but I'm certainly one of them.
Didn't you introduce him that you were going to have a baby as well in another interview?
Yeah, he was one of the first people that even found out that we were having a baby. Like, I told The Rock before I told my parents, and there's like a backstory on that.
Yeah.
But we had just found out that my wife and I were going to have our first child.
When was this?
This was 2022. So this was the fall of 2022. He was doing an interview for Black Adam at the time. So this was October of 2022. And we had recently found out that we were going to have a baby. And I said to my wife, said to Rachel, here's an opportunity to like genuinely get like a real moment with The Rock, but also like kind of like reveal the news that like we're going to be parents. I said, is it okay with you if I have this moment with him before we tell my parents? My parents were coming to town like a week later. We wanted to tell my parents in person, obviously. They still live in Canada. So she goes, of course, you're never going to have this opportunity ever again. So I said to The Rock, you're a great father. And I just recently found out that I'm going to be a father. And that was one of the first times I had said those words, I'm going to be a father. And there's a lot of weight to those words. It's like, that's a life-changing thing of like, I'm going to be a father. And me saying that out loud really like got to me. And it choked me up a little bit. And I had never cried before doing an interview, especially not conducting an interview. I got really choked up. And he like got up immediately and gave me a hug. And he's like, hey man, I'm like, congratulations. I'm really proud of you. And he gave me some really good advice. Like it would have been so easy for him to give me just some like flippant off the cuff, like, hey man, get your sleep now. Like some silly advice like that. But instead he was talking about like how your why will change. And he's like, look, man, like I've known you for a long time and um, you're very driven in what you do. This is going to change your why and really change your focus of what you do. And then he also talked about like how important doing skin to skin in the hospital is. So like you take your baby and like without a shirt on, like you hold them right up against you. And there's like a real like scientific like um, reasoning behind that. But it was amazing for him to take the time to not only recognize that this moment meant a lot to me, but then to give me like real advice. And then I saw him earlier this year. And the first thing he said to me was like, hey, Chris, how's the kid? And I said, I've actually got 2 now. And he's like, 2, look at you, man. Congrats. So that was a really cool moment. And then I cut that out of the main interview and I held on to that until after the news was like official. And we put the word out that we were going to have a baby, but a really cool moment that I think speaks to who The Rock is.
What was your thoughts when you walked out of there?
I walked out of there going, first of all, I felt like there was this weight lifted off of me of like, I'm going to be a dad. And like, it's maybe not as scary as I've made this out to be. I also had many months. Our daughter wasn't born till May. So like 7 more months after that. But I also just left there going like, man, The Rock is one of the most giving interviews. And he actually said a quote during that interview that I loved so much. He said, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And he's like the personification of that. And even after that, he was walking around the halls of this hotel afterwards and like came up to me and we like chatted for a little bit and took a photo. And it was just cool to see how personable he is. Like to be at the level that he's at, but still find time to like make conversation with someone like me. It was pretty cool.